Here's what's being tested on the test server. I took this picture off Adrian Chong's YouTube channel. You should check him out. He's got an awesome channel. And if you want to pause this and go over all the different changes, go ahead and do that. Here's some gameplay from the test server. Up first, I'm testing the Rogatka for its buffs, and I noticed through a lot of the gameplay on this server, it was really jerky, and a lot of load screens and issues like that. I tried reloading the server and starting over. It didn't seem to help much. As far as the Rogatka, I couldn't tell a huge difference. I don't run one in my hangar, but yeah, I couldn't tell a huge difference. This one, I ran a Griffin with aphids and L1s, or excuse me, M1s. And I noticed that, I mean, we don't know if these are what the weapons are if they're gonna be plasma weapons, but because these are plasma weapons, they seem kind of hard to aim. It's not that easy to aim with them, especially up close. You start getting 200 meters out, and I was missing half my shots. So like that one right there, I completely missed him. Here I was testing the Rhino. He died pretty fast. This quick little water skeeter, he did really good. I was surprised. He's just so quick. He's hard to lock on to, and he's just fast. I noticed at first I mixed the weapons up on my builds. I'd put one that had a 600 meter range, and then another one that had a 300, and it was really hard to shoot. So then I went through and loaded them so that they all had similar weapons. So, word of advice, when you make your builds, I'd build them with all the same distance as far as the weapons go. It's much easier to shoot. You don't have to calculate so much, and I just found it a lot easier to run the build. And I've sped up the gameplay because I've got hours of footage, and a lot of it's boring, so I wanted to just kind of speed it up so that it's a little bit more entertaining and things like that. Here's some footage. I was loading up a Rajin. My main purpose was because I've never ran one before. That was my main purpose for that, not gonna lie. I do not own one, and I wanted to try them out. So right here, I'm gonna fast forward this because some of the time it would take forever to load. Looks like we dropped into Yamantau, whatever. You know, this little robot creature, little nimble guy. And again, you can see the different colors. One's red and one's light blue. That's how you know that their difference in range. It was really hard to tell. You almost had to memorize what you were shooting because the prototypes used the same looking weapon. So who knows? Maybe they're not even going to be railgun style. Who knows? Maybe they're just doing this, and then they'll put in completely different weapons. I don't know. I did notice it made a huge difference in certain maps. the map with the center beacon. I can't remember which one it is. It's like a desert. It's a pretty small map with all these long range builds. It was weird because I've never seen it where nobody took the center beacon. Everybody was on the outside edge just sniping inward, and you just don't see that on that map. Everybody rushes to that center beacon to try and hold it down. And with this, in the test server, nobody was doing that. And you could tell that with these weapons, it completely changed the gameplay. And it was more of a sniping scenario rather than close combat. That was one big thing that I noticed while running on the test server. A few seconds back, you could see the screen jiggling up and down really fast. It kept doing that, and it made it really difficult to play and to test these different things. There it's doing it again, shaking really bad, and just making it really hard to use the weapons and decide what may need to change with them because of those issues, connection issues and things like that. There's the connection screen again. It kept doing that. I'm gonna cut this piece and go to another game to some more testing. Here I uninstalled the test server app and reinstalled it to see if maybe it was something to do with that connection or on my side. It didn't end up helping, but it was worth a try. This time I'm trying to do builds that are more consistent so that I wasn't so confused with what I was shooting and what my loadouts were. I noticed that when I did it the first time, I didn't pay close enough attention to what I was running. Here I'm just putting on all the same prototypes on the same bot. Here's the destrier going to town, taking care of business. Little teeny guy carrying two monsters. And he did pretty good actually, as far as the bot goes, just because he's so fast. I think on live server it wouldn't do so well when you got pinatas and orkans shooting at you. There's a Patton with 4 medium range. There's my dryer buzzing. Clothes are ready. Here's a Gep trip. I noticed that the L1 prototype wasn't very good at all. The 300 meter range, it didn't seem to be of any benefit really, in my opinion. It was just, it didn't seem to do enough damage for how long it takes to cool down and load back up. The medium range, in my opinion, were probably the most beneficial and could be utilized the best. Tulumbas did awesome on this build. I think they're one of the best builds for this bot. You can keep some distance. They got that 500 meter range to them, and with the quick draw now only taking about a half a second to switch over, it does insane damage. It's 4 Tulumbas right in a row, and you hit somebody with every shell, they're gonna bleed a little bit. So I found it really fun. It was fun to play with, fun to shoot, and it did tons of damage, and you could keep some distance between you and the enemy. Here I was testing Big Daddy Butch the Heavy, and I had 2 Tridents, 2 Zeus, and it was pretty effective. And the one issue I found with it is I think the quick draw ability needs to be shortened. Not the half-second switch, but the time it takes to switch weapons. It's too long. I think it needs to be shortened by at least a few seconds, maybe even more, 4, 5, 6 seconds shorter, to really stand a chance. Right here you'll see me get a perfect shot with the Zeus, both sides of the wall. Bam! Perfect shot. No, that was horrible. Anyway, this round's about up. Red team goes down. This round I wanted to test the marshmallow shooters. They got a time buff. They got their time decreased from 30-second reload down to 22, I believe. And you know, a lot of people don't like these Zeniths, but I'll tell you what, they were pretty fun. It was pretty fun to just sit back and make people angry. I think they definitely needed to buff the Zeniths. Most people consider them an unusable weapon, and they're definitely not too overpowering now. Um, I think what do you call it, the piss-off factor, it helped to where I think more people would want to use these. Because I'll tell you what, shooting these off and then having to wait 30 seconds, it was a long time. Now it's a little bit more reasonable, and I'll tell you what, you can take out a Fury with these things if you're shooting them just right. You can make a lot of people mad, and it's fun. A lot of people complain, oh, people that don't take no skill. Well, it's part of the game. I think it's pretty cool, pretty fun. I personally don't run Zeniths in my hangar on the live servers, but a lot of people do, and it was fun testing them out. That's for sure. So as far as the time decrease on them, I think it was a good thing. Thumbs up on that. Maybe even a couple seconds shorter too. Even I don't think that would make them too overpowering. They're such a slow lobbing marshmallow missile that you know, it's I'm the type of player that wants to try and get 1,000,000 damage every game, so they're not something I would typically use, but I think the buff was a good thing. And it's hard to score really high damage running long range missiles like this. It's possible, but it's a lot harder to do. That's the fastest Fury you'll ever see right there. Yeah, I played the entire match, I think, with this Fury. I don't think anybody ever even shot me. Maybe a couple ricochet bullets was all. Here in Shenzhen, and I'm testing out the Vityaz, and it got a little HP buff, I believe, but sorry, Vityaz just can't hold up. Unfortunately, I think Vityaz is a has-been robot. He's great for lower tier players. I used him for a long time. You know, when I first got him, I was all stoked. I'm gonna go tear it up, and I did in the lower tiers. But as far as the upper tiers, Vityaz, he's just not strong enough. He doesn't have enough supple movements to defeat some of these bigger, badder machines. Here's some more footage of fury lobbing marshmallows. I just ran them a couple times so I felt I was making a valid case with the new buff to the Zeniths. This is kind of boring play watching me stand on the baseline, so I'll skip over, bring out the Rogatka, and we lost. Didn't last long. Now I'm gonna run a Pothead Warrior. See the buff on the Ansel shield. In my opinion, the Ansel shield up to today is no longer really that usable. There's so many plasma weapons now that just go right through it, and with it being purchased with gold, I mean it's 1500 gold, so it definitely could use a buff. I think it could use more of a buff than they gave it to make it really a really good usable defensive weapon. I think it could be pretty decent on the Lancelot, because he's got that physical shield too, but with on the Pothead Warrior being the Leo, even with the buff, it wouldn't be something I'd ever run, especially maybe goofing around I would, but other than that I wouldn't use it. And then here there was so much lag and connection issues. It was kind of funny because the red team had dropped in our spawning area and we couldn't stop them, but we all kept getting connection issues and shooting at the walls. And I mean, I'm in a Vityaz and nobody could kill me. It took them forever to get me down. Pretty funny. Here I was loading up 3 Carnages with Thunders, and I put on the paint job. I like the paint job. It's pretty cool looking. It's not. I think it could be better, but I think it's far better than just the green gold look that it has. Metal gold look. I actually scored really high on this round, unintentionally. I think I'm going to start maxing out some Thunders because I was just kind of testing, and I scored like 800,000 damage with these Carnage, unknowingly. I mean, so I'll definitely be looking at the Thunder Carnage. I noticed that the Ansel shield on the Carnage, they said they buffed it, but I think it's terrible. It needs a much bigger buff. I mean, most people are running the Rajian over the Carnage, and I think the Carnage could be an unstoppable robot if they would get the Ansel shield adjusted where it needs to be. I think it's way too weak. At some points I noticed it wasn't even regenerating. I don't know if it was a glitch or what, but the regeneration speed is way too slow. Here I loaded up a pattern with 4 geckos. Geckos got a 15% damage increase. This one again is Yamantau. I put the skin on it. It's pretty awesome skin. I can't afford it. 2,500 gold, but it's pretty awesome. My opinion on the 15% buff, it's barely noticeable. When I first started playing the game, I got 2 geckos, and they've been sitting in the garage gathering dust, just because as far as damage goes, there's other weapons that do far more damage in less time, and even with the distance, there's so many other distance weapons that can take you out. So I don't think the 15% increase was very valuable. I think it needs more still. You can see I got tagged by a bunch of aphids. As far as the aphids, I tested the aphids too. Aphids got a nerf. It was hard to notice the nerf just because it seemed like there was so much lag and it affected the aphids visually so much. Like most of my aphids were like shooting out of a barrel of a gun. I mean, just straight forward. They didn't have any arc to them. A lot of them seemed to shoot into the ground. Sometimes they'd disappear, doing a bunch of weird things. It seemed like a lot of people were upset about the nerf on the aphids, but I don't think there's enough difference that... I mean, you just got to get your skill up a little bit as far as firing them goes. And who's not up for being a better shooter, you know? I think that's a good thing. This concludes the end of this test server video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you found it useful. Hope you found it interesting. Thanks for watching.